Today we'll be looking at greatest common factor and least common multiple. This is the Algebra 1 Prerequisite Standard 2. First, let's talk about factors. Factors are numbers you multiply together to get another number. Factors actually divide a number. So 6 times 8 is 48, therefore 6 and 8 are factors of 48. Also because 6 and 8 divide 48. Numbers can have many factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 24, 48 are all factors of 48 because 1 times 48 is 48, 2 times 24 is 48, 3 times 16 is 48, 4 times 12 is 48, 6 times 8 is 48. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 24, and 48 all divide 48. Now common factors are shared factors of two different numbers. So for example, we list the factors of 48, but then we could also list the factors of 10, 1, 2, 5, and 10. So a common factor would be ones that they share, like 1 and 2. So these are the common factors of 10 and 48. Now if I'm talking about the greatest common factor, it's the largest factor that two numbers share. So the largest number that divides two numbers. So if I'm looking at 48 and 10 again, and I look at their factors, their common factors are 1 and 2. Now the greatest common factor is 2 because it's the largest factor that they have in common. Now let's look at multiples. We get a multiple when we take a number and multiply it by another number. Like multiplying by 1, 2, 3, or 4, etc. Just not 0. So multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30. Because we can do 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6. So you're basically counting by the number. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. They're all counting by 3s. So if I look at the multiples of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, you're counting by 5s because 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 5 is 15, and so on. Now common multiples, again, are shared multiples of two different numbers. So again, if I'm looking at my multiples of 3 and my multiples of 5, the common multiples would be 15 and 30. And we could keep going and extending this list. So then we can look at the least common multiple. This would be the smallest multiple that they have in common. So again, if I'm looking at the multiples of 3 and the multiples of 5, the common multiples are 15 and 30. The least common multiple is 15 because it's the smallest one. Here are some examples. We're going to find the greatest common factor and the least common multiple of the three sets of numbers below. So, the factors of 16 are 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16 because those are all the numbers that divide 16. The numbers that divide 32 are 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. This means the greatest common factor. Remember, we're not looking for the first common factor. If we did that, we would choose 1 and possibly 2. But we got to keep going. We want the largest common factor, and that would be 16. Now, if I'm looking at the multiples, counting by 16, 16, 32, 48, 64. Counting by 32s, 32, 64, 96. This time I do want the first one that we have in common. So in this instance, it would be 32. Now let's look at 14 and 49. The factors of 14, all the numbers that divide 14 are 1, 2, 7, and 14. All the numbers that divide 49 are 1, 7, and 49. The largest number that divides them both is 7. So that's my greatest common factor. For multiples, again, we're going to count by the number. So 14, 28, 42, 56, 70, 84. Then I'm going to do 49, 98, and ta-da, I've got two that match. Therefore, the least common multiple is 98. Once I find the two that match, I don't have to extend my list. Now this time we have three numbers, 7, 5, and 35. So we're going to look at the factors of all three. 1 and 7 both divide 7. It's prime. 1 and 5 divide 5. It's also prime. 35 is 1, 5, 7, and 35. But the largest one that divides them all is 1. So the greatest common factor here is just 1. Multiples, we're going to count by the number. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And 35 is just 35 because 35 is the matching multiple. Now you try. Find the greatest common factor and the least common multiple of the following sets of numbers. Hit pause and then try them. Hit play and you'll be able to see the answers.